Well, good morning. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the morning report. Today, we're jumping straight into a conversation that's been heating up locker rooms, TV panels, and social feeds all alike, especially over this weekend. Why don't WNBA players get paid like NBA players? We saw this weekend at the end. No, you didn't see it, neither did I. At the WNBA All Star game, the teams came out in T-shirts that said "Pay us what you owe us." Anyway, and it's a question that's asked, passionately, and often answered dishonestly, way too often. So today we're putting the facts before the fiction, the dollars before the drama, and the economics before the emotion. We're going to start with what's real. All right. First thing we're going to talk about is attendance, because butts in the seats is the oldest financial indicator in actually every sport. We're going to look at last year. We're going to look at the NBA last year. The average attendance per game in the NBA was 18,322 people per game in the arena. Their total season attendance for 2024 was 22.5 million people. Now they've got 30 teams and they play 41 home games each, because the regular NBA season is 82 games, right? So they play 41 home games each. Now, in contrast, the WNBA averaged attendance about 9,807, which is a record for them, an absolute record. This is their highest attendance ever. Their total attendance was 2,350,000. Now, they don't have 30 teams, they have 12. They don't play 82 games, they play 40. So they had 20 home games each. Translation? The NBA is selling more tickets in a week than the WNBA does in a month. Okay? But credits, we got to give credit where credit is due. The WNBA's 2024 attendance is up 48% from what it was last year. That's a huge leap. Some fans are finally showing up, and we're going to talk about why they're showing up here in a little bit. The next thing we got to talk about is revenue. We've already talked about attendance. We got to talk about revenue, money, cash. Okay. Last year, the 23 to 24 season, total revenue for the NBA was $12.4 billion. $12.4 billion. The average team revenue, now remember, they've got 30 teams, right? It was right around 413 million. Now, the revenue split that they negotiated for is around 50%. Now, the WNBA, their total revenue of all 12 of their teams was around 180 to $200 million. Now, I just said the total revenue for the NBA was $12.4 billion, almost $12.5 billion. The total revenue for the WNBA, 180 to $200 million. The average team revenue of those 12 teams is around 15 to 30, depending on where they are, right? Depending on how good they're doing. The revenue split with the league for the players that they negotiated is around 10 to 20%. So let's say this so people who don't understand will understand. The NBA brings in about 60 times more money than the WNBA. 60 times more money. That's crazy. It's crazy. Not even close. And really, if you take a sharp pencil out, the WNBA players already get a much larger share relative to the revenue that the WNBA produces. But that revenue pie is the size of a snack when you compare it to the NBA's feast. Now, TV, because there is TV revenue, right? More money, right? Now, this one may surprise you a little bit. The WNBA, I mean, excuse me, the NBA ratings for last year, a regular season game had about 1.6 million viewers per game. The NBA Finals had 12 to 15 million viewers per game. The All-Star game, which is, I don't know, they ought to just play horse or something because nobody pays in the defense. The scores into the 200s is just ridiculous. And I get it. Nobody wants to get hurt in the middle of the season. But golly, why bother? Well, at least they're still playing basketball. Football was turned into, I don't know what. I mean, they should just play Madden. If they don't want to get sweaty or dirty or hurt, they should just play Madden. Be done with it. Anyway, the All Star game had 5.4 million people watch on TV. I'm guessing most of them are watching the dunk contest, and most of them are watching the 3-point contest. I can't imagine they're watching the game. Maybe you basketball people were watching the game, thought it was a great thing. I don't know. The WNBA ratings for 2024, regular season, and their games are on ESPN and CBS. They had 1.19 million viewers per game, which is not that far away from the NBA. And I think this is where a lot of the pay us the same kind of thing mentality shows up. Their top regular season game, only 2.3 million viewers. Their top game all season, nowhere near the average, but their top game, 2.3 million viewers. And their All-Star game, 3.4 million, a record, biggest numbers. The WNBA is closing the gap in TV viewership, thanks to a large part of players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and the purposeful use of racial tensions that media and the WNBA need. They need Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese like Major League Baseball needed steroids. But the NBA still pulls 10 times the audience consistently during its marquee matchups. WNBA ratings spike, Caitlin Clark injuries. Well, they don't sustain. Now, player salaries is what we're talking about. And here's the gap that gets all the headlines. The NBA, in the NBA, the average salary is about $10.2 million. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, it's because how many players are on the active roster? 12, maybe 10, 12, like that. $10.2 million, the average salary in the NBA. The maximum base salary, the maximum that someone's playing in just without all the other stuff is 51.9 million. The veterans minimum, that's someone who's been in the league 10 plus years, is $3.2 million. a lot of money. In the WNBA, the average salary is $120,000. The maximum base salary is $242,000. And a 10-year vet, their minimum is $120,000. Now, I don't cue the outrage. Cue the church to say, pay us what you owe us. But here's reality. You don't get paid based on your effort. You get paid based on what your product earns. The NBA earns billions. The WNBA, which is entirely sponsored by the NBA and supplemented by the NBA, the WNBA does not. The gap in salary reflects a gap in value creation, not a gap in human worth. Not that people aren't respecting what players in the WNBA are doing. That's not it. And I think a lot of people here on the outside think, this is a respect issue. They just want to pay the women. Lord have mercy. No, it's like, no, y'all don't make enough money to get paid the same. Everybody's like, okay, yeah, these women are playing this women's game to the highest level that women play basketball. No, the Fever is not going to beat the Lakers ever, 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 ever. There's no team in the WNBA that can even beat a medium college all-star team. That's just how it is. Guys are faster, bigger, stronger, jump higher. That's just the truth. Get over it. But the NBA simply makes more money than the WNBA. Now, there's income, but there's also outgo, the expense side. So let's flip the script a little bit and look at expenses. The WNBA team level expenses in 2024, player salaries, about $1.38 million per team. Travel and charter flights, $1.5 to $2 million per team. Arena operations, marketing, staff, all that stuff, about $4 to $6 million. So while teams like the Indiana Fever brought in $32 million in revenue last year, the expenses nearly wiped it out. Even the highest earning WNBA teams barely break even. So compare that to Golden State, who made over $765 million in revenue and had made it with a net income of $83 million in 2023. Now, yes, the Warriors have player salaries, they've got travel and charter flights, they've got arena operations, they've got all the same expenses, really. But they made $83 million. They actually profited $83 million. So financially, this isn't even the same sport. Now, for those of you who enjoy the WNBA, the good news is that the WNBA is growing. And that's fine. And I know this is going to sound tough, but I really want to be clear about this. The WNBA is growing fast. The attendance is higher than it's been in 22 years. Now, I still think it's a lot because they're using the race baiting between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I'm wondering, once those players are out of the league, or one or both of them are out of the league, will anybody care? But the attendance is as high as it's been in 22 years. Viewership is up 170% year over year. Sponsorships, they have over 550 active deals. And the merch sales, because we know that the merch sales mean a lot, are breaking records on a weekly basis. Caitlin Clark didn't bring just eyeballs. She brought business. And you can like her or dislike her, but her her presence in the WNBA has helped the league financially. But the growth now doesn't really erase the math of the last 25 years because they've never made a profit. It certainly does justify. It certainly doesn't justify millionaire contracts unless these millions exist to actually be paid. Now, for those of you shouting gender pay gap, I say this: you can't fix economic gaps with slogans. You fix them by growing the game, growing the audience, growing the income. Now, let's support women's sports with honesty, not with pity, cash, or guilt checks. The WNBA deserves a fair shake, but fairness starts with facts, not feelings. Pay us what you owe us. Okay, then earn what you're owed. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report. Please subscribe, support, and share this truth. Let's build a culture that's strong because it's honest, not just because it's loud. Till we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sake, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye bye now.